Test, test. Hey, everybody, we're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Grab that last drink, an extra plate of food, come grab a seat. 2-minute warning. Thank you. Oh, you guys got so quiet. If I go shh, then I'm Larry or Sergey. Thank you all for coming. My name is Josh. I am affectionately known by my colleagues as the carpool guy. You are Kirkland. Let's hear it for you, Kirkland. Thanks for coming out today. Woo! Yes.
Thank you.
This is my colleague Charlotte, and we will be taking you through the material today. This is a very intimate room, so if you can't hear something I said or you can't see something on the screen, just shout it out and we'll go back and cover it. We have tons of time at the end for your questions, so we're going to try to zip through a bunch of content to get you guys acquainted with Waze Carpool, because I think most of you are new to Waze Carpool. Raise your hand if you have completed a carpool ride or drive with Waze Carpool. And keep it up. Wait, keep it up. I want to see them. We got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to want to keep that hand up because we have sweatshirts for you guys. Yeah. Yes. This magnificent hoodie. This is the Waze Carpool Hero hoodie. Yes, Waze Carpool Heroes. So you, sir, you right there, and I know you. You work at Waze, but that's okay. You guys come up afterwards and we'll get you your sweatshirts. So you all get swag as well. Don't worry. There are shirts for everyone at the end. They look, Charlotte is modeling one of our shirts today. They're the front seat tour.
Wins.
Yeah, everyone wins. They glow in the dark, in fact. So hang around to the end so you can get your shirts. One note, so we are live streaming this. All of our events are live streamed. You all are lucky because there is no audience facing camera. They can only see me right now, I think. It's right here. But your participation would do wonders to make the live stream more exciting. So when there's a laugh line or an applause line, like go for it, okay? Like don't hold back. That's why the alcohol is here. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Spot on. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I'm Josh, the carpool guy. I'm based in the Bay Area. There are several of the Charlottes in New York. There's a couple Wazers who live here in the Seattle area, Kirkland area. So please ask them questions. If you don't get your answers, ask any one of us afterwards, and we'd be happy to tell you more. So let's dive into our content. Those of you I know who didn't raise your hand for Waze Carpool, a lot of you have used Waze, right? Hands up if you use Waze frequently or occasionally or once a year on that long road trip. Okay, good. Lots of Wazers in the room. Our mission at Waze for the last 10 years, pre-Google, post-Google, has been the same: outsmarting traffic together, getting you where you're going faster, giving you that feeling on the highway where you're the only one that really has the secret and everyone else is stuck down below. We call that a Waze win. But recently, since traffic is not getting any better, it's actually getting worse, we've had a new mission, which is to end traffic altogether. And carpool is our natural next step for that mission. So we want highways that look like this: free-flowing, 80 miles an hour or 65 if you're not, if that's your thing.
Safety is very important.
Yes, safety first. But we want you to get where you're going faster, and we realize the only way to do it, we can't rely on governments or others or massive infrastructure construction projects. Like, we are the solution to this problem. We need to take cars off the road. So by being here today, you are all part of this mission. You are all now members of this amazing team that is going to change the world. And I know, I'm here from Silicon Valley. Yeah, it's just what you're supposed to say. We're all here to change the world. But we're actually going to do it, okay? And we're going to do it by sharing the ride. You saw these posters on the way in. These are we actually adapted these from World War II, where car sharing was like a big push. There was an oil and gas shortage, and sort of people were we needed that for the war. And this was the last time the U.S. spent a lot of money really advertising to try to get people sharing cars, and that was 70 years ago. And things have gotten much worse on the road since then. So now it is our job. It is our mission. Welcome to the mission. All right, enough about Waze. What's Waze Carpool? Carpool powered by Waze. Ooh, this is like, come on, this is the shot right here, like the awesome feature shot. So this is Carpool powered by Waze. This is the Waze Carpool experience. This is actually version 2 of Carpool. So we've been operating for about a little more than 2 years. We are now live in California, Washington, Texas, and Massachusetts, as well as throughout Israel, where Waze is founded and still operates. All of our engineering and product is there today. And in this version, we've made a bunch of changes, and I'll take you through some of those changes. But basically, because of you, because of feedback from users out there that told us what they wanted to see in a carpool service. So I'm going to take you all through that in a minute. But first, why do we think we can do this mission? Well, believe it or not, there's 100 million Wazers around the world driving with us every month. I know that there was a lot in the room here today, but we actually have many in Brazil, and many in France, and many in Indonesia and Malaysia, and places all over the world where traffic is terrible. So you are the pioneers, and then we're going to take what we learn here and bring it to all of those places and make carpool a worldwide phenomenon. Handy dandy nifty graphic that shows you what we're all about. Waze Carpool is about connecting drivers and passengers with similar destinations to commute together on the most optimal routes. In one sentence, that's what we are, and that's what we're all about. What's in it for you? So let's say you're on board with what I've said so far. There's many benefits. We've listed a few. One is this community. This is now a time and day and a place where it's really hard to meet people outside of your home life and your work life, but your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your coworkers, and beyond are this community that you should be able to rely on to get where you're going. And we want to introduce you to this trusted community to help you get where you need to be. You want to get that? Are you? I'm sorry, not to put you on the spot. Save time. Carpool lanes, and I'm going to show you some stats. Carpool lanes in Seattle, in the surrounding area, are actually very effective at saving time. So we're going to show you some stats. I won't elaborate. Saving money. Imagine the cost of gas now is as high as it's been in years. In California, we're paying $4.50 a gallon now because of all of our taxes. But every time you add a person to the road, you basically cut that in half. I'm sorry, add a person to your car on the road, you cut that in half. So imagine paying $2 or $1.50 or $1.25 per gallon for gas, essentially, because you get reimbursed for that driving expense. So saving money, doing good and feeling good, don't really have to elaborate there. And then ultimately, ending traffic altogether. Again, I'm going to keep coming back to that mission, which we think we can achieve with Carpool. So what makes this unique? I talked about the reach. There is no other community of drivers on the planet like Waze. So I know there are other carpool startups out there, but they don't have the reach that we do, which we think is very, very important if you're building a platform of drivers and riders and trying to fill this marketplace with both. The data that we have at Waze is, maybe only second to Google. No, Google Maps and Waze are very friendly. I'm going to preempt all those questions right now. We work together. But we between the two of us, we have the best maps, the best routing, ETAs, navigation algorithms, and no startup will be able to match that. So we feel like this is the place for Carpool. It should come out of us and what we're doing. And finally, our brand. So if you're building a trusted community, it helps to have a trusted brand. We've been around for 10 years. People have relied on us for navigation. We want them to rely on us and our user base that's used to helping each other out to help you all out to get where you need to go. Another question I get all the time, I just got it 20 minutes ago at a table. So isn't this just Uber Pool or Lyft Line? No, actually, this is not hired drivers. So when you get into an Uber Pool, you are still in a taxi with multiple passengers. I hope that's not controversial. I think that's my viewpoint, but it's still somebody who's out there on the road, making money, making trips that they wouldn't typically necessarily already make. And with us, these are not hired drivers, regular Wazers going places that they would already need to be going, taking somebody going in the same direction. With Waze Carpool, you get to know your co-pilot. You get to know who you're driving with before the ride, get really comfortable with them. When that Uber or Lyft shows up, that's it. That's your driver. If you cancel, they charge you. That's not happening with Waze Carpool. So you get to vet that person ahead of time, and we give you a lot of tools, and I'll take you through that to do the vetting. These, again, like I said, drives happening anyway. You're sharing travel costs. You're not earning an income. So when you're a driver, you make a little bit of gas money, but it's below the 54 cents a mile threshold for reimbursement that the IRS sets. So you don't have to pay taxes on it. You don't have to report it with a 1099. It's just reimbursement for driving expenses. And finally, we hope that your driver, if you're a passenger, lets you score the front seat because, you vetted this person. Hopefully they're friendly and, you have some things in common, and it's a comfortable ride and not just a taxi where you're sort of sitting in the back ignoring your driver. But if you want to do that, that's okay. Just agree beforehand. All right, so why are we in Washington? It's not just for Sasquatch, although we know you guys love Sasquatch. There's a few reasons. You do have bad traffic. Yeah? And does anybody disagree? Like, does anyone think the traffic situation here is good? Yeah, I didn't think so. It's some of the worst in the country in every metric we've seen, internal and external. But you are also pretty tech savvy, so we don't have to teach you how to use an app. I'm going to teach you how to use Waze Carpool, but I'll assume you're going to pick up.
Get it really quick.
Yeah, I hope so, if we did it right. But also, there's a lot of existing carpool behavior here. There's only a few places in the country where we see as much carpooling as the Washington and Seattle area. So the Bay Area has casual carpooling. Washington, D.C., and that area has what's called slug lines, which is another word for casual carpool. And that's just people who have sort of built these systems from the ground up to jump into each other's cars and go the same direction. We're sort of taking technology, throwing a layer on top of it, and trying to make a smarter casual carpool. So this, we think, is a great place for Waze Carpool. All right, so some of the data, just to give you an example of how important the HOV lane is in your neck of the woods. We looked at some really long commutes and some short commutes. So on this long commute in the morning at 7 a.m., the HOV lane, according to our HOV data, saves you 26 minutes. That's pretty substantial if time is money. On the way home at 5 p.m., it's a 23-minute savings. So that's like almost 50 minutes a day if you're taking the carpool lane rather than driving alone. I would love to have that time back. I'm sure you guys would too.
Imagine the possibilities.
Are you imagining the possibilities? Yes, okay. Some shorter commutes, so just Bellevue to downtown Seattle, that HOV lane saves 8 minutes, according to our data. How do you guys say this? Issaquah? Did I say that right? Okay. Issaquah to downtown Seattle, that's a 13-minute savings. By the way, I'm showing you all of this data, which is now available to you in the app. So Waze is the first navigation app on the marketplace that will show you HOV time savings and allow you to navigate using the HOV lanes so that you can make those choices. Now, please only use the HOV lanes if you are an HOV. The tickets are substantial, but it's now available to you, and you can see every time you get in the car what that's going to save you on your route. Renton to Redmond is a 12-minute savings with the carpool lane. And here's another one, a short one. North Creek to Redmond is a 10-minute savings. So did that look substantial to you guys? Would you like that time back? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, great. Let's do it. So now we're going to onboard. So since only 2 of you have driven with us or ridden with us, this is the point where you're all going to take out your phone and follow along. And if you've onboarded already, that's great. But if you haven't, I'm going to make it really easy. And let's do this. Let's get carpooling. So first things first, Waze is a 2-app platform. So Waze, the app that you know and love for driving, is the driver's experience for Waze Carpool. There's a second app called Waze Carpool that is the rider's experience. These 2 apps work together on the back end to match up drivers and riders. I'm going to show you a screen in a little bit. They're very similar looking, but the rider app is separate so that if you don't have a car, you bike to work, and you need a carpool sometimes, you don't really have a need for a navigation app. It's just an app that's small, light, data, light on data, light on battery, that will get you a ride. So that's why we've separated it. There's a good chance that at some point you'll be able to do all functionality from both, or we'll combine it up. But today it's 2 apps. So we're going to take you through the rider onboarding flow, I believe, but it's similar for drivers as well. So you download the app. First thing we want to know is, where do you live? And this is going to be your default, but you can change this. The great thing about Waze Carpool is every commute, every segment of every day, the morning and the evening commutes, are totally customizable. So we want to know your defaults, but let's say you need to go, to the gym or to the supermarket after work. You can change on any given day that route specifically, and it doesn't change your defaults. So it's very flexible that way. So tell us your what was that, home, and then your work address. You can put in Google, or if you work at Microsoft, just put in Microsoft. We have most of the buildings. You don't have to put in, your actual street addresses. So put in, a building nearby, and hopefully we will find it. Tell us when you usually leave for home. So again, this is a default, right? You can change this at any time in any segment throughout the week. And then tell us when you usually leave work to go home. So once those 4 things are done, we're going to ask you if every day is good for you, or if just 1 or 2 days. You tell us sort of the days that you prefer to carpool. So this might be hard to see from the back, but it's just Sunday through Saturday. And you can carpool on the weekends too. Let's say you have a job that takes you to work on Saturday or Sunday. That's totally fine. And every week you can schedule all your carpools in advance for the week ahead. So we recommend on Sunday night, maybe going ahead and requesting all your rides. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you're set for the week. These are my favorite screens. So once you've done all the previous screens, this is where we tell you how awesome it is from a pricing standpoint. So if you're a driver, we're going to tell you how much money you could earn monthly, or not earn, but reimburse for driving with Waze Carpool, assuming that you drive every day, 5 days a week. And on the rider side, we're going to tell you how cheap your commute is. And because we're only paying up to that 54 cents a mile threshold, drivers can actually adjust that if they want, if they feel like they don't need that much, or they can even offer free rides if they want. So it's very, very flexible. You'll see that these rides are going to be probably 1/3 of the price of an Uber or a Lyft. So it's very, very affordable. It should be comparable to public transit wherever you live. After these screens, we have to connect with a larger profile so that you can, I prefer Google, so that you can vet people more easily. And there's a bunch of single sign-on stuff that happens in the background. After this screen, there's the profile photo. So if you don't have a photo associated with one of those accounts, you can add a new one, or you can change it to your heart's content. But we do request, and in some cases require, if you just take a picture of the floor, an actual picture of your face, because we want this service to have real people who are vetting each other and trying to figure out who the best partner for them is. This is my next favorite screen, which is giving us your work email verification. So this is not to be used for spam. This is simply to tell us, and you can skip this step, but we prefer that you do this. Tell us where you work, and we just ping your email address, and I'll show you a screen and show you what this looks like. This allows us to do 2 things. One, it allows you to select carpool with coworkers, so it will filter out everyone who is not in your place of employment, if you prefer that. And the second thing it will do is aggregate you and all of your coworkers and colleagues' carpool data into our leaderboard. So at Waze.com, Waze loves leaderboards and points. So at Waze.com/carpool, we have employer leaderboards that show for every city that we're live who the top employers are. And you're going to see Seattle, and you're going to see Kirkland in a minute. So then finally you're in, okay? After you're in, let's say you skipped the work email piece. I'm going to show you really quick where that lives because it's so important. If you skip it and you want to get back to it, it lives in our settings menu. So you click on that little gear, you click edit profile, you add your company name. It's actually we find your company name. You're just telling us the email address. You fill it out, and this is the email verification that you get. So it's very simple, but it's very, very powerful. So please do that and encourage your friends to do it as well. The other thing I wanted you guys to see, because we are running a lot of promotions right now, are where to put coupons. So coupon codes also live in the settings menu. And coupons can give you, free rides, or an extra $3 when you make your next drive, or we're dreaming up lots of things. So you'll start to see coupons percolating throughout all the communities that you live, and from your employer, and from your even your county. Like I'm working with King County and other surrounding counties. So you'll start to see these coupon codes everywhere. We want to make sure you get to them. So you click on payment method to get to your coupon code field and enter promo code. The other thing that coupon codes are great for, each of you has in the app a personalized referral code. And this is really important. If you refer today, the current offer is $30 for you and $30 for every driver that you refer. That's just cash money. So $30 for you, $30 for the driver that you refer. If you refer riders, you get a free ride and they get a free ride. And you can refer as many as you want. I think on the driver's side, it's up to 10, but on the rider side, it's unlimited. So go for it. Tell your friends, everybody who's not here, ping them now, tweet at them.
Right now.
Instagram them. Okay. Oh, and there's the code field. All right. So talking about the redesign. When we redesigned this app, we put two principles first. One, people first. So this used to be a blind matching platform. This used to be you'd give us all your sort of information, and then we'd find you the best possible match on each commute segment, and then you communicate with them and figure out if it was right, et cetera, et cetera. But all the magic happened in the background. It was a black box. What we've done is we've taken all of that and brought it forward and given you the power. So we put the people first, and we've given you the choice. And this means that when you log in as a driver or a rider, the first thing you're going to see is this list. This list is people nearby you that could be possibly a good match. If you're a driver, we list matches in order of sort of like shortest detour. So people that are like 1 to 5 minutes away, and then 5 to 10 minutes away, and so forth. And you offer them rides. And then on the rider side, we list people that are excellent matches for you as a driver, that are very close to your home location or your work location. And you as a rider can also request drives from drivers. So matching can happen both ways. And we don't care either way, however it works out. Riders request from drivers, drivers go for it with riders. It's not a dating platform, but I saw you guys laughing about that up front. But it is a carpool matching platform that allows you to find someone that you're very comfortable with. So I'll leave it at that. We do know couples that have met in carpools. We can talk about that after. So once you've offered or requested rides, and you can offer or request up as many as you want, the first one that accepts and becomes your confirmed ride, you see more information about that, right? So and the pending offers and requests live in this little sort of like bubble tray here. So you can see for every person, if they've viewed your offer, the last time they were online, if they've messaged you, you see a little icon. So we encourage a ton of communication up front so that you can figure out what works best for you. You'll see more of that in a second. So I already really covered this one. Drivers can choose who they offer a ride to, etc. If you like a calendar view and you want to see your whole week ahead of time, we offer that as well. So there's a little toggle at the top. You switch to the calendar view and you can see throughout the week the places where you have rides booked, the places where you have rides pending, these little weather icons, which is not real. This is a mock-up, but I want to have weather integration too. So I want you to know like which days you should be taking a carpool instead of biking or something like that based on the rain forecast. So we'll get there. At the top of both apps, you'll see this toggle, which allows you to easily switch between the ride and drive mode. So in our experience, about a third of people are switchers. Some days they ride, some days they drive. About a third of people are riders consistently, and about a third of people are drivers. So big piece of feedback we got early on, make it easy to switch. And we've done that with the toggle, which kind of functions a little bit like Facebook and Facebook Messenger. Okay, the moment of truth. The only employer right now on our employer leaderboard for Kirkland is the employer you're sitting at today. So we need,
Thank you, though.
yes, thank you, Google. Love you, Googlers. But we have a lot of people here from outside of Google, and I want you guys to hightail it back to your workplaces and get some friends referred, get those referral bonuses, and start climbing this leaderboard, or at least getting your company to show up on this leaderboard. I'll show you what Seattle looks like right now. So Starbucks is kicking butt in Seattle.
Ooh.
I know. Actually, I didn't include it. I cut it off, but Google was like 5th or 6th. So if any of you are visiting from the Seattle office, get back there and start climbing this leaderboard. But this is not a lot of carpooled miles. It's still very early days here. We have, and actually it's in kilometers. I got to talk to Israel about that. If you guys are listening, we want miles, or we want to be able to switch. So in the Bay Area, these are in the tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands. You guys, we've only launched here a couple of months ago. It's very early. It takes time for a carpool platform to take off. We get that. But right now, somebody at Seattle schools with, a couple commutes could pass Starbucks. So there's hope for you all. Let's get moving. Okay? Yes. I don't know. What do you get if you win with the Waze points?
Honor.
Yeah,
glory.
sense of pride and joy, honor. We might throw pizza parties, like at my daughter's school when her classroom wins something, they get a pizza party. But you guys are well fed. I saw the cafe, so there's good pizza here. No, we're thinking about it. We're actually, I joke, but we're talking to employers directly about trying to figure out ways to incentivize their employees and reward them for climbing these charts. So this is going to become the gamification of carpool starts now. Okay, so let's go. Let's do this. So this is a perfect segue to my next slide. So we have a program right now called the Enterprise Partner Program. And what it does is it gives any employer or university that wants to participate free rides to and from work or school for a month. So the way this works is the employer comes to us, or a passionate employee of an employer goes to their employer and says, I'm going to talk to Waze Carpool. And they come to us and we talk for a little bit and we work something out. And we provide a month of free rides for riders and we pay the driver. So for that first month to kickstart that employer, we basically, pay for the ride. And it's working. So I can give you, I don't know if I have an example here. No, I don't have an example here, but after that free month is over, a lot of employers have decided to subsidize rides themselves. And even some where the subsidies are just turned off, that carpool behavior has become sort of established, and we've seen carpools increase even in that month after the free rides. So we're really excited about this. If you are here from someplace that needs something like this program, then take this down, Employers at Waze, and we will get one of these programs started where you work or go to school. Did I miss anything here? No, this is just showing you that all 4 people here are Google employees. And so it's really cool when you open the app and you can filter by coworker and you still have this long list of coworkers to ride with. Okay, so at this point, I am going to turn it over to Charlotte so I can take a drink of water. And she's going to take you through some of our social stuff.
All right, hello. So I am going to share how you can get involved and join the Waze Carpool revolution. So we really want to know, did you have an amazing carpool experience? Did you meet a new best friend? Did your commute get cut in half? Is there a dog that you get to carpool with that you've fallen in love with? If you have a great story or a great experience carpooling, please tell us. We want to know so we can make our app better, and we also want to feature you. Where to let us know? We have all sorts of social channels. So we've got a Waze Carpool Facebook page, got an Instagram channel, and we've got Twitter as well. You can really reach out to us anywhere to share these stories. But where the magic and kind of deeper discussion happens is really on our Waze Carpool Facebook community group. So this is really the place for you to talk amongst each other, share tips, tell us what's working, tell us what's not working, share feature ideas. And we also want you to know that our product managers and our entire team really takes this seriously and is looking at the discussions happening, and your feedback can really make a difference in an app. One example that I love is that thanks in part to a lot of discussion and a lot of feedback we were seeing in our community group, we created the gender filter feature. So for example, if I only feel comfortable carpooling with other females, that's now an option for me. And as Josh mentioned, you could also carpool just with people in your workplace if that's more comfortable for you as well. So never be shy. We also have a Waze Carpool sticker challenge going. You actually have some stickers on your seats under you, hopefully, or at least you should. But if you want more free stickers, you might want to jot down this little.
And if you're on the live stream and you see this is the link, and we will send you your stickers. And if you post them somewhere legal, we might feature them. Kids and dogs are legal too, so go for it.
Get creative, and of course, we will share all of our favorites. Here's just a few that we really like a lot. And we really want to keep the momentum going. We love getting to talk with you all in person and meeting face to face and learning more about your experience in carpool, what you need, what's going to make your life better and your commute better. So we really want to keep this momentum going. We've got an event coming every 2 to 3 weeks typically, either a webinar or a live event. But the best part is we live stream them, so you can ask questions live, even if you can't be there in person. But our next in-person event will be in Venice, California. Date TBD. You'll have to follow our channels if you want to know when. And again, you can always join virtually too.
Thank you. All right, so you guys already submitted questions when you registered, so we want to answer some of them right off the bat, and then we're going to get to your live questions. So we'll just sort of go back and forth. So there's this video that we put together with, I don't know who that is, but some guy who's going to talk about, what if my commute isn't the same every day? So let's play this real quick. Oh. Ooh. Wow, that was very informative. And I love the magic of editing. Okay, so let's go back to, okay, a few of you asked, how is Waze Carpool different from other ride sharing apps? So if your name's on the slide and I didn't answer that question appropriately, let me know right now, or if anybody in the audience feels like I didn't talk enough about the differences, now would be a good time to elaborate. Any questions about us versus Uber or Lyft, us versus other ride sharing apps? Okay, all right. We can come back to that. Nikki asked us, as a solo female, is it safe? It's a great question. So we've addressed that with features like I only want to ride with other females, which it's very easy to do now. But let's talk a little bit about what goes into your profile, because I thought I had a slide on it, but it turns out I didn't. Not only do we have Facebook and LinkedIn connectivity, so you're one click away from seeing whether your potential driver or rider is connected to you. We have ratings and reviews, 5-star ratings, sort of endorsements like clean car, great conversation, and you can rack up those endorsements. We also have 2 great features, which I love, which are in-app messaging and proxy phone calls. So you can converse with a potential driver or rider without revealing any of your personal information, such as your phone number, and get as comfortable as you want. And then, if it doesn't feel like it's going in the right direction, you can block people. So we have the dreaded block button as well, and you never have to see that person in your list again. Yeah, I know, hardcore. But hopefully that suite of tools, much like Airbnb, we think of our platform as like the Airbnb for the space in your vehicle, will allow this sort of community to flourish. So let us know if that feels right to you. And if not, let's talk about it. All right, your turn. Anybody with a burning question? If you ask a question, you'll get a t-shirt. No, you're getting a t-shirt anyway. Yes, sir.
Shouldn't have told them that.
I know.
Going back to your last question, is there any way optionally for drivers and passengers to voluntarily do a background check, just for ease of mind for people? Is that an option in the app?
So it's not, thanks for the question. It's not in the app today, but it's a good suggestion. So I know that there are a lot of platforms out there that allow you to sort of like, get like a super badge or like a designation that says like background check confirmed. I will say one thing, like traditional background checks vary by state and they are very expensive. So in a platform such as ours where, a driver to us, first of all, let me back up a step. We're not making any money off of Carpool in itself, right? Waze is an ad-supported platform. So by using the platform, you see our ads, those annoying banners when you're at a red light, or those, I know, sales is watching, or those pins on the map, right? Those things are there so that you can enjoy Waze for free. And we're not charging fees. Everything that a rider contributes goes to the driver. So that means that incremental drivers for us are not profitable, right? They're not in and of themselves profitable. So it would be like, you'd have to carpool for like 30 years to make up what it costs for some of the background checks that we've seen. Now, there are other kinds of checks out there, like motor vehicle history checks and other kinds of checks. And those we've looked into, and some other platforms provide those. So I think it's a good suggestion. I think we should look at ways to incorporate an optional background check that gives people who want to opt into only those vetted drivers that sense of safety and security. So thank you for the question. Yeah.
How do you plan on dealing with the potential negative impact of allowing riders or drivers to choose the person they're going to be in the car with? Because I know that for Uber or Lyft, you're kind of assigned, and so there's less of a potential to have like interpersonal problems or like prejudice, for example.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I made the Airbnb comparison, and it's something that they've had to deal with on their platform. And someone asked me this before when we were eating, and frankly, we're not big enough to see those kinds of trends yet. We're small. Even though we're doing thousands of rides a day, we have not noticed any of that kind of discrimination yet, because people are actually pretty happy to find a ride to work. And most matches that are confirmed are happening. So it's something that we're going to monitor very closely, because I think any platform like this where you see people ahead of time and you have real photos and you have that, that element of choice is a concern. But on the other hand, we want people to be comfortable with each other. We do want people to be in. My commute from San Francisco to Mountain View, 30 miles, takes over an hour. It's an hour and 15 minutes. I don't want to sit in the car with somebody that I'm not comfortable with for whatever reason. Maybe maybe their car's covered in cat hair and I'm highly allergic to cats. Like for whatever it is, like I need to be comfortable for that hour and 15 minutes. So it's a balance. We really need to try to strike that balance. And at this point, we haven't seen any of the former, but we're monitoring it closely.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yes.
So I think the safety question is a very legitimate one. And I'm not sure how much it costs to get a background check, but I wonder if more people would be encouraged to ride if they know that that driver has had a background check. So I don't know if there's a partnership that can be built or formed to get some of those background checks done, and then data that supports people riding with people that have had a background check versus people that have not had a background check. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. I want to say one thing. Some of them are very expensive, hundreds of dollars. So even if we put that cost on to somebody to vet themselves, it's a prohibitive cost for somebody, an individual. The other thing is, the background check, like Uber and Lyft platforms, which are supposedly vetted drivers, have all kinds of problems. We see them documented all the time. So we at this point are comfortable letting the community police itself. And if somebody reports something to us, an interaction that they've had, real humans are looking into it immediately, and we are kicking people off the platform, even if someone makes someone else uncomfortable. So we're being very, very strict because it's early days for this community, and we can't afford to have that. So I appreciate the comment, and we will continue to monitor it. You've had your hand up. Let's go there and then here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in kind of one-off kind of things. So I have the occasional desire to drive down to Mountain View from here. Long story, but how can I set up one of those where I'm like, hey, if anybody else is planning on going to Mountain View and wants to go enjoy the ride?
Yeah, so the long haul carpool. Yeah. We definitely want to get there. And there are models around the world where that is working really well. So if anybody's familiar with BlaBlaCar, started in France and is now throughout Europe, they've done millions of rides on that model. And Europe's a lot smaller than the US, so it's a little easier to do a city-to-city ride that only takes a couple hours, and the car can be much, much cheaper than a train or even a flight, something like that. When we get to enough density, we think we're going to be able to fulfill that use case really well. So right now in California, we have a lot of density in the Bay Area. We actually have a lot of growing density in Southern California. And I know of a couple instances where people have done that about 5-hour drive through a carpool. So it's possible. There's nothing stopping you in the app today. You kind of have to hack it a little bit. You'd have to call, Mountain View, your home or your work location, and try to put that out there and see if somebody grabs it. But it is possible. And as the platform grows, we want to do more of it. The other thing that we want to do along those lines is events. So going to a basketball game or a football game at the stadium, going to a concert, going to a comedy show, those are places where people are all going together to see something at the same time. It's a perfect use case for us.
And the traffic is really bad too, of course. So even more incentive to, and like really fun to carpool with other people on the way to a festival, for example.
So we are, we're experimenting with this in certain places. So here in the Washington area, the Tacoma Dome, has anybody been to something at the Tacoma Dome? Yeah. Okay. So they're one of our first partners. They're a Waze partner, but they're one of our first carpool partners. And this month, and I think we might extend it into next month as well, they've been doing free rides to the Tacoma Dome. It's hard to say. And so same thing as like the EPP program, the employer promotion program. If you're looking for a ride to the Tacoma Dome, it appears free to you. The driver still gets paid, and Waze is covering that. So we're sort of experimenting to see what kind of uptake we get for events on the weekends. They have a lot of concerts and bull riding and things like that. So, oh, sorry, live stream can't see us. Oh, I can just exit out of this. I think, will that work? No, I don't know. Let's keep going. Yes. How far in advance can you book a ride? Up to 7 days in advance. So for the full week ahead, you can book, and there's no deadline. So other apps on the marketplace have a deadline. So you have to sort of book by 9 p.m. for your ride the next morning, or book it, I think, 3 or 3:30 p.m. For the ride that evening. We don't have deadlines. So you can request a carpool right up until your departure time, and we'll try to go out and find you a ride. One of the things that we're doing is starting to look at the larger Waze user base, people who haven't yet opted into carpool, and see if there are good matches where if we tell them like, hey, you're not in the carpool platform, but if you opt in, we see people that are on your route all the time and you can save time and money and da-da-da. So we're looking to expand our carpool user base by tapping into our frequent Waze drivers as well. So if you guys drive with Waze and you're not opted in, you might start to see that promotion on the platform. Yes.
So I see the app is only allowing one rider. Why limited to one rider?
Yes. So thank you. It's almost like I planted you in the audience.
Good question.
So we actually had multiple passengers until we went to this new model. So in our old platform where all the matching was done behind the scenes, we had multiple passengers and we did all the math and all the fancy algorithms to match up. And the way that we handled multiple passengers back then was one pickup and one drop off. So not like Uber Pool or Lyft Line where you're driving around trying to find that next passenger. The passengers we would find passengers that had similar, home and work and have them come to the same pickup point, get picked up and then dropped off at one drop off point. And we're currently working on that right now. It's a little more complex with this model because there's a lot more user choice involved here, but it's coming very soon. So that will be back. I know you guys have some carpool lanes that are 3+, right? Yeah. So coming soon.
Even more incentive.
Yes. Yes.
You're hearing.
Yes. I saw a lot of nodding. Okay. There was something back there. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Wait, we're going to bring you a mic. Sorry. Hang tight.
Speed walk.
Thanks, Charlotte. Yes, ma'am.
So is there any policy on cancellation of a ride? Like if I have been matched and say I'm a driver and I cannot go to office for some reason, so how the communication being handled?
So we encourage you to be cordial because if you're canceling on someone, please let them know. Don't just ghost on them. And if you're a rider and you cancel on your driver, a little less painful, but please let them know in advance. We do not impose fees. A lot of people have suggested fees to us. Not a lot of people. Some people have suggested fees to us. And if you get into our Waze Carpool community group where all this stuff gets discussed, you'll see that topic come up again and again. And there are passionate people on both sides of that debate, right? Life happens. Don't penalize me. I'm just going out of my way to support this carpool mission. Or come on, like I was trying to get home to see my kid's soccer game and I couldn't get there because my carpool bailed on me. So what I would say is if you feel passionately about one or the other, let us know. And we are debating whether or not to try to incent good behavior through that kind of a system. But today we don't have any penalties. I will say guaranteed ride home is something that people care a lot about. And so we are, sneak peek, coming out with something along those lines. I know, shh, live stream, don't tell anyone. So basically the premise would be if you carpooled into work and you had a carpool booked home and that driver cancels on you as a rider and you're stranded at work, we will send you a code or something to get a lift or something like that home. I will say that there are a lot of those kinds of guaranteed ride home benefits in your communities around the country. So a lot of employers offer that benefit. A lot of counties offer that benefit. So we're going to do it, but we're also going to make you aware of all of those offers that are generously sitting out there that no one ever claims. So go claim that money because if you take an alternate mode into work, you're entitled to that ride home. Yes, sir.
So most of the drivers will pick you up from your house, right? So do you think it'll be a problem that the driver will pretty much know like where you live or like at least the neighborhood you live in?
Actually, so it is not a default mode to be picked up at your house. So you tell us where you live, but I believe most of the pickups are within a one or 2 minute walk of the house itself. We do give you the ability to change that pickup, so you can sort of in our UI drop the pin exactly where you want to be picked up. But I don't believe the default, and the engineers can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe it's at your address. It's usually 500 yards or like a corner at the corner, close enough. I've gotten comfortable enough. I'm usually a driver, and most of my riders just ask to be dropped off at their home. I mean, maybe it's because I'm the carpool guy and they trust me. I don't know. But yeah, I think once you sort of develop this community of drivers and riders and you get comfortable, like it becomes less important. But I hear you. Yes. Oh, and then we'll get to these. You guys are next.
Do you have any numbers or stats on like recurring carpool groups?
Yes. Yes, we do. Great question. So we found that once somebody hits 3 or 4 carpools, first of all, in terms of retention, 3 or 4 rides or drives, they tend to stick. It becomes a regular behavior for them. So that's why we're doing some of the things like first month free and things like that. So we can get you trying us once a week or twice a week for 3 or 4 weeks. It's probably going to become a lasting behavior. And then we've also seen that groups of about 5 or 6, like a handful of people, tend to form these little micro communities that fulfill most of the needs of that group. So you don't really need, like when I open up my app in the Bay Area, I see 50 different riders that I could pick up. But I look first at the 4 or 5 or 6 that I've driven with before, and that's who I sort of go with first. So we're actually changing the UI in the next couple of weeks so that the people that you've driven with before show up at the top as sort of like your most recent carpoolers, and you can request very easily and frequently with them. So that's what we've seen. Thank you. Over here, and then over there.
Can you talk a little bit about car insurance, given the money is involved?
Yeah. So this carpool behavior. So first let me the disclaimer. If you look at our TOS, it says check with your insurance company. But I've checked with most insurance companies, and this not-for-profit share the expense carpool behavior is covered under your most general policies. So you don't need to buy. I know all the insurance companies now, if you make a claim or if you call them about a question or whatever, they're going to ask you every single time, are you driving for profit or are you driving for income? And they won't say rideshare. They'll say like income or money or profit. This use case is not under that sort of what do they call it? Supplemental insurance policy. So they're all selling rideshare policies now for Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. This use case is covered under your general liability insurance. So it's just like as if you gave me a ride to the airport and I gave you $5. I'm covered under your insurance, assuming that you're insured, right? Okay. So we would be covered under that scenario, and that scenario covers this scenario. That use case covers this scenario.
So that brings up an interesting point. Do you verify that your drivers are in fact insured in case there is an accident and there's medical bills?
So we are not proactively verifying, but when you agree to sign on to our service, you accept our terms, which state that you are of the legal age, that you are a legal driver, you have a driver's license, and that you are insured to drive in the state that you live. So, to your point, like this may be something that down the road we wanted to be more proactive about, but today we are relying on the community to accept our terms and then to vet each other if they find out that people are driving illegally on our platform.
I mean, the way you're going to find out is to have an accident and then find out they're not
Sure.
insured.
I mean, that's right. I could say to combat that. It has not happened yet, and we've been operating for 2 years.
So I've been doing driving for about 2 months doing this, and it's been great. But I've also noticed there's a launch.
You're the sweatshirt winner, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you and you here. All right, round of applause. Yes.
Thank you. So I noticed there's a launch promo as well in the little section about where you're getting paid, and that's about 50% of the fare. So I've been waiting there for 2 months for that to drop. And how long is that launch promo last?
So you're talking about you're getting paid a little bit more than our pricing curves typically indicate, but you're still getting paid under 54 cents a mile.
Right. So that's why I'm wondering that I'm always waiting for that launch promo to go away. And it's been 2 months, which is fine. And also, are you afraid, like, when the launch promo goes away for some people, will that discourage people from carpooling because it won't be as incentivizing?
Yeah. So it's a great question. So we have now sort of markets and different levels of growth. Like Washington is in the infant stage. California is kind of a teenager.
Rising star.
Yeah. Texas is like a toddler. So we've been able to measure this in all these different markets. And there's this very small impact at first. But again, once people make this part of their weekly behavior, it sticks. And so that as a driver, we've seen a little bit of that at first, like for the first week or two, and we'll get some complaints like, oh, I was getting paid X amount. But for the most part, most people are sticking with the platform. And again, so as a driver, you also have the option to offer your services as a driver for more, up to the 54 cents a mile. So when that promo drops, if your time is more valuable and you want 54 cents a mile for your driving services, you can drag that slider up and you can make your offer the max amount. Yeah. Yes.
So since Waze is not making any money on this, is it
directly? But we have an ads business. This is very healthy.
Okay. Okay. But is it truly an altruistic mission? I mean, like, I'm just kind of curious as like, so all this work and obviously development.
I work for free, by the way.
I mean, you know, my question,
Actually, I work
like,
for the swag. No, it's a good question. No, I mean, it's yes, like our vision, we are a mission driven company. We actually believe in the save 5 minutes every day, outsmarting traffic, try to end traffic altogether. I will say that we are in this weird period right now in between human car ownership and operation and self-driving, which I still think is a ways off, but we can have that debate after. And so I think that a few platforms are going to be really important in that future. And I was telling somebody beforehand, even with self-driving cars, if we're all riding around one person per vehicle, there's still going to be a million vehicles out there, too many. So we feel like we have an important place in this ecosystem. If we can get people comfortable with riding together, then we become a valuable platform no matter who is doing the driving, whether it's human or machine. Yes. So I hope I said enough there. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And as someone,
no, it's a great question.
it's a great question. And as someone who has worked for Waze for a few years, like that's so much a part of our culture. You really feel that you're helping to make that change. So in my experience, it does actually feel that way.
Have you guys had your legal team look into the tax deduction thing you mentioned earlier? When I looked it up, it said only business expenses, miles, can be written off, and that does not include driving to and from work or any other driving. So therefore, any cash you receive would be tax deductible.
Yeah, so we in every state that we've launched, it's been cleared by our legal team, that piece specifically. So well, let's take a look afterwards at what you're looking at, and maybe we can parse it together. But yeah, Waze has a legal team, and we also have a Google legal team, and so there's plenty of lawyers that have vetted it, and they could all be wrong, but I don't think they are. Let's look together. Yes.
So what has been the best, okay, hold on, let me think. What has been the biggest challenge at recruiting riders and drivers? And what has worked best to recruit riders and drivers, knowing that there's some states that are in the infant, toddler stage,
Yeah.
teenage stage?
So I think you guys have touched on most of the concerns. Like everything that you've raised today are concerns that we face wherever we go. But you know, we're very heartened by what we see in California, where we've been doing this the longest. So we feel like there is a certain level of time and sort of almost like this tipping point needs to be reached in order to get a community, a specific community. Carpool is very local, right? This is not. We're here in Kirkland because every community matters, and well, and the space is free because we're at Google. But we need to do these types of events everywhere we go, where there are these hubs where people are coming to, and so I think it's a matter of. I mean, yeah, it's been challenging to get people to change their behavior because we are addicted to driving alone. I mean, it's so easy to get in the car and hop in the morning and not deviate from your routine and get where you're going. But, you know, I was on the Google shuttle for 5 years before I joined Waze, and that wasn't that convenient, but the drive was so terrible that I walked, you know, 3/4 of a mile down the hill to this bus, jumped on a bus, commuted on a bus with all these people, and then walked from that destination, you know, to my Google office in Mountain View. And it just became routine. Like it definitely wasn't the most convenient thing I could do, but it became routine. And I knew that there was 75 other people on that bus, and it was kind of good for the planet. I want people to think of this as that, but like with a little bit of gas money. And you don't meet anybody on the Google bus. I don't know if you guys have the Google buses up here. Like it's pretty quiet on the bus. But we want people to meet each other and to build these little communities as well. And I've met fascinating people in carpools. You can talk to me afterwards. I'm not going to do it for fear of outing my riders on the live stream, but I've met some really great people who weren't Googlers, who I would have never met, that lived in my community or worked really close to Mountain View, that were, you know, our friends. I consider them friends now. And I kind of said this at the beginning, there's not a lot of chances in this day and age to meet people in that kind of a circumstance that is non-threatening and is actually could be enjoyable. So the biggest challenge is the behavioral change and getting people to try it. And then we found that once people try it again 3-4 times, it becomes part of the routine. What was the second part of your question? Did I get to the second? So people are very motivated by price, both on the driver and rider side. So we were actually surprised. We thought riders would be very price sensitive, but drivers would be fine with whatever. But as you can tell from my friend back here who's done a bunch of drives with us, he's worried about when that $5, extra incentive goes away. So drivers are price sensitive too. So we've doubled down on our efforts to work with employers and transit authorities to get them to have some skin in the game, because they have parking challenges, they have congestion challenges at their campuses and in their communities, and they know that building another highway or building another bus line is only going to go so far. So they're willing to work with us to try to incentivize directly these kinds of carpools. And so we're doing more and more of that. Yes. Right where? Oh, here. So question from the live stream. How related is the success of carpooling to the existence of HOV lanes in the city? So that is a wonderful question. And we have seen carpool thrive in places where HOV is prevalent, but because of our limitations, where right now we're doing one driver, one rider, in the places where it's 3+, we've had issues. So multi-packs is coming, we call it multi-packs. Multiple passengers is coming back soon so that we can kickstart those communities again. But we've also had a lot of success where there are not very many carpool lanes. So Texas, as I said, is sort of in that toddler stage and is seeing month over month carpool increases, and they don't have a lot of these lanes. They have a lot of toll lanes where you might get a break from the toll if you have multiple people in the vehicle, but not a lot of true carpool lanes. And we have seen success there as well. So to answer this question, I would say we've seen a little of both. Success in places where it's there, and success in places where it's not. Okay, we're gonna go here, and then t-shirt time? Yes? Yes, okay, cool, yes.
What's been your experience with things becoming so routine that people end up dropping off the app and just continuing?
Oh, so that's a great question. Thank you. So we try to make it sticky. And the ways that we make it sticky are payment is handled seamlessly in the app. So credit card, if you're a rider, driver, bank account, if you're a driver, automatic once a month, it drops into your account. As a rider, it charges you automatically. So that whole notion of having to shuffle money with somebody that even if they become a regular rider, that can get uncomfortable. So we take all that away.
Especially if it's multiple days a week and you don't want to keep track of all of that.
And I mean, I don't even really carry that much cash anymore. So it's it would get challenging. The other thing is this notion of 5 or 6 people is sort of that key number of people that you need to meet all your needs for the week. And when the app goes away and you're coordinating with all those people directly, it gets a little cumbersome. So the in-app messaging and all of that we've created, we're kind of a carpool app and a messaging app in one. So it sort of feels like we've taken that, the sticky factor and applied it to the messaging scenario so that people will keep their conversations in the app and keep the carpooling going that way.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, we also have calendar integration. So we might have dropped that. I think we're bringing that back. But when you book a carpool, it would book your Google Calendar automatically so that that reminder was there. So those kinds of things, we're trying to build more of those. Okay, last question, and then I'll talk to you. Here, right there. Thanks for sticking with us.
All right. I've been a Waze member for over 5 years now.
Are you a king?
Yes, I'm at the crown at
nice.
the top.
Awesome.
Nice. And a reformed gamer. So points are very important.
Yes.
What have you done to gamify the carpool aspect of this? How many points do we get for each carpool?
Yes. So how many Waze points do you get?
Yes.
For carpooling.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So that's actually something that I've pushed for very hard internally. It's not connected at this point, but I'm pushing for it because people are really invested in their Waze points. And I also want you to be able to get something for those Waze points, like maybe, a Starbucks offer or something like that. So there is no direct connection today. However, when you are carpooling, you can still earn your points. You can still report things on the road. You can still, get all your point action going on.
And you're using Waze when you're driving.
Yeah, you're using Waze when you drive, so you get all the points for driving and all that. No direct connection today, but we're working on it. Yes.
Yeah, talk about that in the community group on Facebook.
All right. Thank you guys for coming out. We'll stick around for some more questions. Have a great evening. Thanks for taking your Wednesday with us. Thank you.
Guys so much.
Shirt table is open in the back. Hey. You are.
No. What'd you do to my account? Give it a point. I have -1 points. No. I swear, look. I just opened that up. I did not. Okay.
So for the tax thing, they will just pull up a quick website. Basically, not business related,